This is a really great shot here of the start of the women's lightweight single dash. What you can see are the athletes just kind of gathering behind the starting gates before they get called in. So at the Royal Canadian Henley Regatta, you can't enter the course unless you have been invited on by the umpires. So what they'll do typically is they'll say it's 5 minutes to the start, and they will invite each lane in one at a time. So in this case, they will say lane 2, Seattle, lane 3, Seattle, lane 4, Burnaby Lake, lane 5, Boulder, lane 6, Vic City, and lane 7, Potomac. And they'll say, please bring your boats to the starting gates. And that looks like the call there. It looks like we could see lane 3, that's Riona McCormick of Seattle, doing a couple of bob drills, maybe doing a little bit of blade work, see if she a little bit of finesse before she has to get into the gates.
Yeah, interesting in this race to see. It looks like there are a number of different boat manufacturers the athletes are using. At the bottom of our screen from Seattle, we can see the athlete rowing in an MPOCR in lane 2. Lane 3, it looks like Sykes. Lane 4, it looks like they're rowing a Fluid Design, and lanes 5, 6, and 7 appear to be in Hudson's.
I was just speaking to the guys from Hudson just a minute ago, and they're the gold sponsor at this regatta. So big shout out, of course, to Hudson down in the boat park.
Yeah, they have their shark tent, I believe, just around the 1,200 meter mark if anyone's looking to go down and watch some races there tomorrow.
It's a happening spot, that's for sure.
So this event used to be, the trophy for this event used to be awarded to the winner of the 135-pound men's dash. The last winner of that was Shane Madden of Malta in 1999, and in 2000, the trophy then switched over to be awarded to the winner of the lightweight singles dash, and that year was won by Daphne Edmond of Montreal Rowing Club. The defending champ for this event is not here, but Liliana Page from Ottawa Rowing Club has won this event 3 times.
Yeah, Lil winning it last year at a time of 1:47.78. The trophy is the John H. Dorr Memorial Trophy. John was a charter member of the Westside Rowing Club in 1912, and he remained active in the club until his death in 1963. In 1922, he was the first Westside crew to win Henley sweep races. He held the position of financial secretary of the club from the 1930s till about 1951, when he was named the club's 3rd president, which is a position he held until 1953. After his presidency, he continued as a director of the Westside Rowing Club.
Yeah, the folks at Westside Rowing Club have always been great. If anyone's in the Buffalo area, they built a new boathouse a few years ago that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, they truly have it's almost a compound over there, and it just looks fantastic. And they have an absolutely massive junior development program that really streamlines athletes making kind of that step from club to club elite or national team.
Yeah, the club also produced Tom Terrar, who is the U.S. women's coach. They're the defending champs in the U.S. Women's 8. This year they seem to be struggling a little bit, but I wouldn't put it past them to make something happen at this year's Worlds.
Watching all the different techniques the athletes are using to make sure that they are totally straight. But something else you can kind of notice here is some of the different boat manufacturers have different lengths of boat. So the boat holders are having to pull them in or push them out. You can see that MPOCR closest to us. They've had to pull it in quite a bit.
Yes. Just saw the white flag on the far side, so it looks like the umpire over there feels that the bow balls are all lined up evenly. And we'll just be waiting for the starter on the who's at the bottom of the screen to begin the race.
I think the dash events here at Canadian Henley are something I really look forward to. The island where all the boat trailers are and all the athletes kind of keep themselves and all their equipment. The end of the island is right about the start of this event. So you've got everybody has migrated to the north end of the island, and the grandstands are packed. So you can hear usually a big roar from the crowd on both ends.
Looks like all the athletes are sitting up waiting for that light to change green.
And they're off.
Looks like Seattle in lane 3 had a nice start, quickly getting out of the gates. Rowing it around 46 strokes a minute.
Certainly lightweight rowing and high stroke rate, 2 things that probably go hand in hand.
On the far side, we have Boulder rowing around 38 strokes a minute, Vic City, they're around 43 strokes a minute right now. Very high race paces that you don't often see in singles as they try to conserve more energy over 2,000 meters. But in 500 meters, there's no point in conserving energy.
Yeah, their bows are approaching the last of the yellow buoys. They're coming into the red buoys, which typically signify it's time to start a sprint. But in this case, that means the race is 50% done.
That's true. In the bottom of the screen, we have Seattle. Looks like they're continuing to row at a fairly high pace. From this angle, it doesn't look like there's a lot of a gap between the boats with about 300 meters to go.
It looks like maybe Aaron Peterson out of Burnaby Lake in lane 4, but could be Potomac out on that far end. That's Kristen Kay.
Yeah, Potomac rowing around 37 strokes a minute, which means she does have some room to bring the rate up if she wants to, but there isn't a lot of real estate left for her to do that. So if she wants to bring the rate up, she needs to do it now.
You can see Elena Tab from Vic City. She is totally, you can see the difference in stroke rates between those two boats on that far end.
Yeah, Vic City's still rowing a fairly high rate of 38.5 strokes a minute, but it looks like it's helped her to clear the field. I'm just not sure about the Seattle boat on the bottom of the course. It's just outside of the camera angle at this point.
There isn't even enough time for these athletes to take a look out of the boat and see where they stand. They just have to put their head down and go, let's see. This could be a barn burner. It's hard to say because we couldn't see lanes 2 and 3. I'd be interested to see what happens with Seattle, but it could be Burnaby Lake. That's Aaron Patterson.
Yeah, in these races, you don't see the athletes splashing the water around as you often do in some of the other races. They're just too exhausted to do that.
It does look like lane 4, that's Aaron Patterson of Burnaby Lake coming through in a time of 2:02.05 to unofficially win the women's lightweight single dash.
Yeah, followed very closely by the two Seattle boats, which is a great accomplishment for them coming all this way to be 1.5 seconds off of a gold. Hopefully this encourages them to come back again next year.
Nice thing about 500-meter racing, it goes by pretty quickly. We only have 2 events left today.
That's true. We have the men's heavyweight 8 dash and the women's lightweight 8 dash.
That'll bring us to Sunday of Henley. Sunday is finals only. So if you're tuning in tomorrow, we'll be here. And the Dash for Cash. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. There's 3 events left today. We have the men's 8 dash, the women's 8 dash, and the mixed Dash for Cash, Regatta Sport Dash for Cash. Illustrious.